the patron saint of all things terrifying and macabre, Scary Larry Dwyer, invites you across the pond for a nightmare filled with horror. British horror. That's right. You've stepped into season 4 of Scary Larry's House of Horrors. This time, it's hammer time. Oh, and as normal, we'll be swearing a fucking lot and spoiling a ton of shit. You've been warned.
How do you sleep at night? On your belly or in a hammock?
Or do you dig a hole in the ground and put your hump in it?
You see, we're interested. Crookback.
His name is Grost.
Crookback will do for me.
But not me.
Why?
Because I don't like it.
Oh. He doesn't like it.
All Horror October continues here on The Pint. And of course, we're continuing straight into jolly old England again. That's right. Scary Larry's House of Horrors, Hammer Edition, Episode 3. It's all about vampires this time, folks. My name is John.
My name is Lloyd.
Oh, my name is James Mason.
My name is Scary Larry.
And we're here.
The James Mason thing threw me off.
Sorry, yeah, so did everyone sitting there waiting for me to say hello. I just completely blanked.
It's okay.
John Cross.
John Cross is here with us, as usual. When we talk all things English horror, we have to have an Englishman with us. That's kind of been the rule since episode 1. So yeah, we did The Devil Rides Out a while ago. We did Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde a little bit after that. And here we are in All Horror October. And as I mentioned, it's a vampire film. We are going to 74? Is this one 74?
74.
Made in 72.
Yeah.
Released in 74.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to hammer, I guess, second greatest vampire killer after Peter Cushing. We're going to talk about Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. Let's get into it.
Do you want me to get naked and start the revolution?
All right, so we already know my answer. I've never seen this before because I hadn't seen any Hammer stuff before this. Lloyd, I'm assuming you're on the same tip with this one.
Same tip. Never saw it. Never heard of it.
Larry, you obviously brought this to us, and you just mentioned you had the Blu-ray. I'm assuming this is one that you've seen before.
It is one that I've seen before, but not in, probably over 30 years.
Okay. And John, I'm assuming like in second grade, they show this to you. Like
yes.
they wheel you into a classroom, all of you, they wheel the AV cart into a classroom and they say, okay, kids, it's time for some Captain Kronos.
Yes, growing up, Hammer Horror was on the curriculum of almost every junior and junior high school in England. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. I love to make my assumptions.
Yes.
my terrible assumptions. So Captain Kronos, Lloyd, you've got all the production information. Why don't you swing in there and we'll get into this.
Yeah, I think I do. And I actually found during the movie, I was calling it wrong. I was saying Captain Kronos, but they say Kronos.
I found that I think it's only Marcus calls him that, and it sounded like Grost was calling him Kronos. I don't. There seems to be a lot that's kind of very loose in this film.
Yeah, very loosey goosey.
Yeah,
yeah. It also depends on your accent. So someone like John Carson, who has a very proper English accent, probably says Captain Kronos, whereas the other guy who's doing more of a regional accent probably says Kronos. But it just depends.
Manster, you call him whatever the fuck you want.
I'm going to call him whatever.
Yeah.
Do it.
Just don't call him late to dinner.
No.
Captain Cronkite was written and directed by Brian Clemens, English screenwriter and TV producer. This was his only directorial effort. He worked on a lot of British TV, The Avengers. He created the New Avengers and the Professionals. I'm sure John is a little more familiar with those than we are.
Yes,
Avengers was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. Avengers was a huge deal, as was The Professionals. To be fair, I mean they were both pretty big kind of 60s and 70s TV shows.
Yeah. So he also wrote things like The Telltale Heart, See No Evil, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, of course, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
Fucking Harryhausen
another one.
classic.
Yeah. Another Highlander 2.
We don't talk about Highlander 2.
Oh,
Yeah, well, he did write it.
Yeah, we gotta, John, you're gonna have to take that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have any mention of Highlander 2 on any episode.
let me insert an editing note here.
Filmed, like Larry said, in 1972 from April to May. Good lot of effort put into that filming. Belatedly released in April of 1974. Filmed in the English counties of Buckinghamshire and Berkshire, which I believe we've mentioned before. A lot of Hammer films were there.
Buckinghamshire and Berkshire. Yes.
I knew it was Sheer.
Sheer.
I was going to say, John, please.
Yes, fucked up the Sheer and the Shire.
This whole episode is going to be us fucking up pronunciations of
That's fine. It's
Kronos, Kronos.
Is it always a Sheer? Like anything that is a...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Worcestershire. Sure.
Yeah.
Worcestershire.
Yorkshire, Leicestershire, yeah.
What about where the hobbits live?
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
The Sheer. They live in the Sheer.
Have we been calling it the Shire all these years? And Tolkien meant to call it the Sheer, but like Americans just fucking fucked it up like they fuck everything up.
I don't know, because to be honest, I mean, I read Lord of the Rings, but I didn't hear the word the Shire done until I saw the animation, and then I saw the Peter Jackson movie. So everyone just calls it the Shire, and that's I would suppose it standing alone, it's Shire, but it with a prefix, it's Sheer, because it's just how you run it all together.
I love how he said prefix.
Yeah,
you'd have to think too much to call it Shire. Like if you had to go Leicestershire, it's not natural. It's not comfortable.
I take it all back. Buckinghamshire.
Buckinghamshire and
Buckinghamshire.
Just to
that's right. You got to like shorten everything in the middle.
Just to drive you crazy, instead of it being Berkshire, it's Berkshire. So we pronounce it when it's B-E-R-K, it's Bark at the beginning of a place name.
Of course it is. Yes.
Lloyd, just take everything you know.
Yeah.
And go fuck yourself with it.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go do it tonight.
Ball it up tightly and just jam it up your ass.
Jam it up your asshole.
Jam it up your Berkshire. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
My Berkshire. All right. So this film was intended as a first in a series, like I think you said, like a James Bond type thing, focused on these characters, but never happened. And I guess due to the violence and the sexual subtext, it was rated R in North America. What was it in the other, like PG in the other places? Everywhere else?
You can't have a drop of blood on your mouth. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Way too intense. Way too gory.
which is funny because the director Brian Clemens actually wanted it to be less explicit. His idea was always that it's what's in your mind rather than what's on the screen. So very often you see the aftermath, but you don't see the actual attack. And similarly with the sex, you see the lead up to it and the aftermath. You don't see the actual.
You see a lot of shadow in the sex scenes.
Yeah. Caroline Monroe, we didn't get to see her titties, but we got to see the shadow of her titties.
You'll never,
multiple.
And never will you get to see her titties. I don't think she did a nude scene.
Yeah, I read an article about this movie, and she had to be convinced to do the shadowy scene. Mm-hmm. And the way she did it was she said her hair covered her nipples, so she felt like that they were blocked, plus it was shot in shadow, and she wore nude color like underwear. So she said it was like, I felt like I was at the beach, so it wasn't a big deal. But like they were trying to get her to take everything off, and she was like, I just don't do that. Yeah. But they got her as close to nude as she'd ever been in a movie.
Well, not only that, but this was her first starring role or, supporting starring role. Obviously she'd done other things and would go on to do other things, often in an ensemble, but this was sort of her largest role to date at this time. And the interesting thing about the nudity sequence is that there were actual boards, and I'm probably going to, it's either the Charlie board or the Charlie beam. I'm going to probably get the wrong thing, but there were beams or boards specifically designed by lighting people to that when a woman in a Bond film or in a Hammer film or in one of those sort of British movies of the 60s and 70s had to kind of be seen naked, but not fully naked, they would put literally what was called a Charlie beam or a Charlie board between the light and the actor. And it's why she has two very definitive black shadows. And it's funny because Charlie's is sort of a nickname for breasts in the UK.
What?
A pair of good Charlies or a pair of
Holy
good
shit. Here it's just a place where you get like a beefsteak.
Right.
Cheesesteak Charlie's, beefsteak Charlie's.
But I like the fact that these gaffers working at Pinewood and Elstree and some of the British studios in Buckinghamshire, I love that they had like, oh yeah, grab the Charlie board, Jeff. We'll just stick that up, and you won't be able to see her nips. You know, it's. I like that they had a specific invention for it. It's fantastic.
One final thing.
Get a couple Charlie boards for the show.
We should do a whole show nude. Just
John,
for Charlie
get on that.
boards. Yeah.
An all nude episode. Yeah.
I'm in. Sorry.
There was a novelization written by Guy Adams under the title Kronos, published in 2011 by Arrow Publishing. That's like 36 years later. That's a long time.
Yeah, Titan Comics did a comic series in 2011 or 12, like a 4-issue miniseries that's meant to be, I think, like a further adventures of.
Yeah. Well, so when the commentary was recorded, which was 2002, he talks about there was 3 editions of, I think, Hammer's House of Horror comic book in the 70s that also featured Kronos. And Brian Clemens was like, oh, I knew nothing about that. I won't cause a stink now, but that's my intellectual property because he owns the character. So maybe the 2011, 2012 thing was him trying to make a little money before the end of his life. I don't know.
Oh, he's dead
But
now?
he owns the character. He died in 2015.
Okay.
All right, that's it for production.
All right, let's talk about the cast.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Okay, so Captain Kronos, whatever we're calling him, is played by German actor Horst Johnson, or Horst Jansen. He was mostly known for, it looks like a lot of like German or English production war films. One called Breakthrough, one called Murphy's War, and one that was apparently based on the second Motley Crue album called Shout at the Devil. But you think to yourself, geez, this guy's got a voice of gold. Well, that ain't Horst's voice. It is an uncredited actor named Julian Holloway, who is the voice of Captain Kronos because they deemed Horst's German accent to be too thick. Julian Holloway on TV was on The Avengers and The New Avengers, and he was apparently in the Star Wars The Clone Wars cartoon series a repetitive voice actor who did several things. We talked about her a minute ago. Carolyn Monroe plays Carla, the beautiful, beautiful Carla, who was in the stockades with apple in her hair because she danced on a Saturday.
Total fucking Footloose vibes going on.
Yeah.
And apparently they really put her in the stocks, and then the crew pelted her with tomatoes and eggs and things so that she looked authentically disgusting when Kronos finds her.
There was a half a tomato just stuck to the stockade that didn't even move when they opened it. So yeah, I believe that.
She's a handsome woman.
Oh, phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Absolutely glorious.
I do have to say, though, there was 1 or 2 scenes where I look and it was like, oh, that's just not the same person.
Oh,
she looked a little too manly in a few scenes.
Well, because they put a lot of, what was weird was they kept trying to cover her in, like soot and dirt and general stuff. And occasionally it looks like she has 3-day shadow, which is hilarious. Like some shots makes it look like she has stubble, but it's just trying to make her look dirty and a gypsy of the woods,
right?
Or Romani, you would say now, but
who dances on Sundays?
Who dances
Saturday.
on the Sabbath, which is just
no Sunday.
Yeah, dances on the Sabbath.
Isn't the Sabbath Saturday?
No, it's a Sunday.
Sabbath would be Saturday if you were Jewish.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I didn't know we had qualifications of fucking Sabbaths. I thought it was one thing. Okay. So anyways.
None of the derivations can agree on anything. So even all the different Christianities have completely different rules. So yeah.
Born again Christians call Wednesday the Sabbath. So yeah. She was in The Spy Who Loved Me.
There's no dealing with those people.
To Die For, the Nicole Kidman film from the middle 1990s. And of course, a movie we talked about here many, many, many moons ago on The Pint. Have you ever been to Clam's Casino? That's right. She was in Maniac. She was
still trying to figure out how Joe Spinell got that date.
Yeah.
Still trying to wrap my head around.
Well, they were really good friends.
I realize that, but still the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
None of that makes any sense.
No.
He was a human sweat gland in that movie. Yeah. He was pretty gross.
He's a human sweat gland in everything.
In 1984, she collaborated musically with Gary Newman on a song called Pump Me Up. That was on Gary Newman's record label. So apparently she delved into music as well. John Carson plays Dr. Marcus. TV stuff, The Avengers, The New Avengers, and Doctor Who. I think if you were a British actor, it was almost like you had to, like in, Israel, you get to be 18, you have to join the army. If you were an actor, I think in Britain, they were like, which one, you want to be on The Avengers, Doctor Who, The Professionals, you got to do one of these. Shane Bryant plays Paul Durward, who is the aristocratic son of a very noble family in this. I thought it was fucking Roger Taylor from Queen the entire time. The whole fucking time. Fucking time.
Absolutely. I was trying to figure that one out, and that's it for sure.
Yeah. He was in Lady Chatterley's Lover, Hawk the Slayer, and a film called Cassandra. This one's interesting. Wanda Ventham plays Lady Durward. She is the mother of that family. Mm-hmm. She was on TV, a show called Fallen Hero, UFO. She's Benedict Cumberbatch's mother.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep. Yeah. I didn't know his mother was an actress, and she doesn't share the same last name, and his last name is Cumberbatch. But yeah, that's his mother. So interesting.
And she played his mother in the TV series Sherlock. She plays Mrs. Holmes.
Okay.
That's right. I heard that's a good series. I never watched it.
It's a lot of movie length episodes. So that's what was kind of hard. I watched one or two and I did like it, but yeah, I think it was a little overhyped.
Okay.
Ian Kendry plays Caro. Ian Kendry, you say to yourself, what if Phil Collins and Jason Statham fucked and had a butt baby? Ian Kendry. He was in the original Get Carter. He was in a film called The Bitch and Damien Omen 2.
I love Omen 2.
I remember him there.
I like part 2 better than 1.
Everyone loved him and thought he was a fantastic actor, but a terrible alcoholic, and sadly lost a lot of work because even on this, the story that Brian Clemens tells is that he said, "Look, you can be in the scene that you're in, but you cannot have a drink. Like you cannot have a drink," because they were old friends, and he was like,
and it's set in a bar.
And he showed up on that day. Brian Clemens did, to see Ian Hendry sitting in his chair drinking a lager. And when he went over and said, "Hey, Ian, I said not to drink," he's like, "This isn't a drink." This is just regular. This was like 9 a.m. or whatever. So
it's the old Robert Shaw effect.
Yeah.
So sadly, could have had a much greater career, but died young because of the booze.
John Cater plays Professor Hieronymus Grost. He was in Loot. The Abominable Dr. Fives.
Yeah, please, come on. I went to school for fucking 8 years.
Dr. Fives went to school for 8 years, not for me to call him a fucking mister.
Right.
And Little Lord Fauntleroy with Ricky Schroeder. And then the last one I had to mention, I stopped there, but then when I was looking through the cast list, something hit me. And I said, gotta put that in there. John Hollis, who's the barman, was fucking Lobot in Empire Strikes Back. And we just talked about, Lloyd and I just talked about Flash Gordon. He plays a very Lobot role in Flash Gordon as well. And he was also in Superman 1 and 2 as Kryptonian elders, because those movies are connected, the Richard Donner thing. And then he comes back in Superman 4 as a Russian general. So Lobot, everybody. Lobot, your favorite
Lobot.
Lando Calrissian's earmuffed robot helper.
And one of the most amazing, like, lower brows His eyebrows are like 3D. I mean, he doesn't have actual eyebrows because he has alopecia, but he has 3D lumps where his eyebrows would be.
You could really see him when they lowered down behind the counter.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like they were like right in line with
the comedy spaghetti western scene. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. John, why don't you open this up for us? We got a couple of young girls in the woods. What's going on here?
Yes, so we do. We have a couple of young girls in the woods, and there is a cloaked person who's kind of skulking around, and then and then a gentleman comes looking for his ladies. They are both standing weirdly still. One of them is standing looking down at the other one who's sat down by the banks of the river. And when he goes over to her, she looks in shock. And then he goes over to the girl in the blue dress down by the river, spins her around, and goodness me, she's all aged. He is aged. She is wrinkly and old and possibly also mannish, because that's what's really odd is that as all the women age in this movie, they're all played by men. It's completely bizarre.
You're totally right.
Yeah. And it's where we learn that this is not a normal vampire, ladies and germs. This is a vampire that sucks your age or sucks your life force or sucks whatever would age you from you rather than your blood, and does so via a kiss, which specifically leaves a blood drip by the lip, which is how they start to recognize that there is a epidemic of vampire kills going on in this particular
And
area.
you gotta clarify it. It's done very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yes.
Very quickly.
He comes and goes like a
Comes and goes.
Captain.
You could also have validly said, instead of the girl in the blue dress, the girl in the blonde wig.
Blonde wig,
Yeah.
yes, indeed,
That
as
was,
well.
that was a wig? Sorry.
It's a great opening, and it's a great sort of shock scene when she turns around and you see her wizened visage.
Did anybody else besides me think that the non-victimized girl was Helen Mirren? I thought it was Helen Mirren. She looked just like Helen Mirren.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. If watch it again, I was like, is that Helen Mirren? Not in the credits. It was not her.
Talking about women, the women in this movie, apart from Caroline Monroe, all the women kind of look the same. Like almost all of them. I mean, they all have different wigs and different hair and different whatever. But the redhead later on, the brunette that he's making out with up against the
Isabella,
tree, the daughter, all these ones, they're all like big-eyed, big lip, big breasts kind of women in this movie.
That
or average breasts.
And then if you want to get into more people looking like more people, you mentioned the tree scene, which was very bizarre because he's basically, it's a threesome between a guy, a girl, and a tree. He's got her, the tree's branches are like holding her head still. He looked like Andrew Garfield. I just kept pulling people out in this movie going, this person looks like this person looks like this. But yeah, so now we find out through the people in the village that, this is happening. It ends up happening again. And the family decides to go to the local doctor, and the doctor puts out the bat signal. I also had to laugh because the girl who was not attacked by the vampire, when she went back to her family's house, her brother was Tiny Tim. he had the one,
but he wasn't tiny anymore.
Yeah, he had the crutch. He's full size Tim, but he still has the crutch. We're just throwing
his 70s porn name was still Tiny Tim. Right.
Right. God bless us all.
Starred in a series of electric blue VHS.
So Manser, this starts happening. The doctor calls out to an old wartime friend who comes running into town on a couple of on a horse and some carriages. Who's the gruesome twosome that shows up?
The gruesome twosome is Captain Kronos and his companion. I don't know. He was called by a different. Carol called him something, but you'd call him Hunchback.
Humpback, they called him.
Humpback.
Yeah.
And when he's riding that carriage, he is leaning so far over. I mean, I felt so bad for that guy's back.
What hump?
Yeah. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because I just feel like I have to. We're talking about this character. But, you get a character who's like obviously a hunchback and who has dealt with this affliction probably for his entire life. And then they write this really tender scene where he gets made fun of by Caro, and he's like, "Am I that bad, master? Am I I was like, doesn't this guy know he's a hunchback? Am I ugly? I just wish maybe one day you would throw me one of your big-titted British girls when you're done with them, master."
It doesn't Caroline Monroe go like that's what's inside that counts. Like, she doesn't say,
she doesn't say, "Oh, you're beautiful in your own."
She doesn't. As he's saying that,
she could have given him a rub and a tug.
I was waiting for her to say something like, any woman would be lucky to have a man like you, Professor Grost. And instead she's like, it's not that bad. It's
like,
just,
don't worry, beauty fades. We'll all be ugly in 40 years, and so will you. You'll stay ugly. It's
you've
fine.
got a great personality, Grost.
He is, and there isn't what he doesn't know about vampirism wouldn't fill a flea's codpiece.
So that's one of the things about this movie, and I know we're rushing him, but I got to bring it up. There are some really cool concepts of vampirism in this movie, like when Grost explains to the town people, to the doctor, that not all vampires are bloodsuckers. That's not the whole thing. This is a specialized vampire that is absorbing youth and using it to rejuvenate itself. Okay, cool. There's a scene, and we'll get into it in a little bit, where we actually see the genesis of Kronos being a vampire's fatal affliction, like, a weapon to be used against vampires. That was a cool scene too. But then we have like the completely flown over subject of Kronos was bitten by a vampire, but never became a vampire. Did I miss dialogue that explains?
No, he's essentially kind of a bit like Blade in a way, right? Or
bit of a daywalker myself.
Yeah. What's the other character? There's another character that from popular culture that has like some vampire in them, but is able to kind of keep it at bay. But yeah, I think it was one of those things where he wanted, because this was going to be the first of a series, he wanted to like pepper some stuff throughout the script that they could hopefully bring back and sort of explain in later versions, but also leave it vague enough that if someone took up the mantle and started writing these down the line, they could write whatever they wanted. Because essentially Hammer had got sick and tired of sort of the Cushing-Lee model, which they felt was always the same story every time, and you always knew the ending because Cushing was always going to triumph over Lee, even if Lee was always going to come back. And they didn't really explore a different story, I don't think, until the Satanic Rites of Dracula, which has a great story. But this one was meant to be, well, let's upend all the myths, all the things you know about vampires, all the stuff that we've done before. We're going to change it all with one line of dialogue, which I actually think is a really cool idea, and I've never heard anyone else in the history of like vampire authorship doing this. But the idea that there are as many types of vampire as there are different species of frog or different species of bird or different species of whatever, which is like a really cool idea, because you can have vampires that suck memories. You could have vampires that like you could come up with different things, which would be a great idea. Sadly, we never got to that. But
like what we do in the shadows, you got the
right. I guess
vampires.
I guess they went with some of it. Yeah, no, that's a good point. They did pick up on some of it, but no, I love the fact that they just kind of threw everything out here and tried to create a brand new mythology in a way where they're not kind of going, it's a brand new mythology, by the way. They just kind of, like you're already in the world. Like when the movie starts, you're already in the world. So yes, a little thing gets explained here and there, like the bites on his neck or whatever are kind of explained as much as they can be, but they're not committing to anything 100%.
So Larry, when they run into town, we mentioned it earlier, they find Carla in the stockades covered in salad. She's covered in the salad that was in the toilet in Death Wish 3. They let her out, and what happens from this point with her?
Well, so they get there, and I love, it's a great scene because she's just hot as hell, even though she's covered in fruit and vegetables. Looks like somebody poured like a soup. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "Oh, I danced on the Sabbath." And he just laughs, "Ha ha!" And just, I'm like, is he gonna kill her? Like, I don't remember. He's fucking slices the lock off of the stockade and lets her free. And then basically he's like, "You're free," and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna come with you guys. I'm gonna tag along on this ragtag voyage that you have here," which leads to just a crazy scene. So they're driving towards the town that they eventually are going to end up in. They have to camp for the night because it's getting dark out. And so she's like, "Well, where am I going to sleep?" And fucking Kronos is just like, "Sorry, we each got a blanket. Me and Kronos have a blanket, so you got to fucking fend for yourself." I'm like, "Is chivalry fucking dead? You and fucking Kronos share a blanket and give Caroline Monroe a goddamn blanket."
Yeah.
Well, she got back at him with the ugly comment.
She did, but I was like, what a dick move.
Also, what about the line which is both cringe but also absolutely phenomenal at the same time, which is where Caroline Monroe looks right at Kronos and says, "If you'll have me," and then he takes a beat and he goes, "Oh, I'll have you." And then it zooms into her eyebrows and she like raises one of her eyebrows. Mm-hmm. It's an absolutely fantastically sleazy scene.
Oh yeah.
That wouldn't be bettered until James Spader many years later.
I got to ask a question because we're talking about, their dynamic. Kronos and Carla.
Okay.
And Kronos, we learn is Dr. Marcus's old war buddy. Mm-hmm. Kronos was, I think they said, like a member of the Imperial Army. Do we know what year this is supposed to take place around?
So it's the 1600s.
Yeah, okay. Everything is pretty much around that.
That's what I thought. But I had one question I want to throw out there before I forget it. Later in the movie, there is a little section where they learn that crosses, as I mentioned, are a problem for vampires, and they steal a cross and forge it into a sword. And there's a whole kind of montage where Grost is making this sword out of the cross. And it looks like Kronos is like in some kind of meditation with his head covered. What is that all about? What the fuck was that all about?
He's got a sack over his head.
He has a sack over his head.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, he has a handkerchief, like a napkin.
I think he's like, it's like sensory deprivation.
He's sat like that with his
He's sitting like this.
Okay.
And he's got his face covered. And I know people can't see this, but he's arms crossed across and his face is covered. I just wanted to know if I missed a line of dialogue. My assumption was he's, like someone just said, sensory deprivation. Like he's trying to.
He's meditating. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So Kronos had mentioned that, there's like things that he does to get ready to fight a vampire, right? He smokes weed, apparently.
Cigars that are this long.
Yeah, he smokes weed. He meditates. He's got things. He's got. Dude, listen, this guy's got shit to do, man. Who are you to judge?
He bangs Caroline Monroe in a series of bombs.
He fingers gross butthole for about 5 minutes. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time.
He kills bullies.
He rubs his hump for good luck.
Yeah. All right.
I like it when they get him dressed up in his David Bowie Spiders from Mars curly shirt later on, and she's like, but he has garters for his arms that are cloves of garlic flour that he puts around his arms and stuff. There's all this ritual in it, and I kind of love that.
Yeah, Seinfeld moment. I said to my girlfriend when he's getting ready for that, I said, "Your puffy shirt, sir." Yeah. That is also a cool little moment too. Speaking of like the mythology of vampires and vampirism and all that stuff, you start to notice that like in the beginning, everywhere they are, there's like that flower hanging, like, and he says it's a Chinese herb, and apparently vampires don't exist there because they can't be around this. And I'm assuming it's some form of garlic or something. I don't know if they ever say that, but again, a little bit deeper into the mythos. Manster, I want you to explain. We got Marcus who brought them in. We know who our heroes are now. Who are the Durward family?
Well, they are there's a son and daughter. Oh, I forget their names. Paul. And what's the daughter? Sarah?
Sarah.
Yeah. And they're visiting the grave of their father, or at least
Androgynous and Androgyne are the two.
Right. So one of them is from Queen. I'm not sure where the girl's from.
You say they're from Queens?
Yeah, Sarah from Queens.
So they're visiting their father, who's got a big monument on the graveside, the hill graveside. And there's their mother is also in the carriage, but you can't see her. She's veiled. And when you do get a little peek at her, it looks like she has a very old face. But they're friends of Dr. Marcus's. And he just wants to, he hasn't seen him in a while, I guess, and wants to keep in touch. It's been 6 years, I believe, since the husband was killed.
Dr. Marcus failed to save the
right. He wasn't killed so much. He had a plague of some sort, and he died in Dr. Marcus's arms. And so the wife blames Dr. Marcus and won't speak to him.
I would assume the plague, probably. But.
The plague.
Yeah, I think they say the plague at one point.
Yeah. The siblings have these nice existential talks every once in a while, and
I would refer
they have a certain
to Paul,
heritage.
I would refer to Paul as habitually uninterested.
Yes,
because that's the vibe I get from Paul. This dude, and I don't know if this was his choice or the director's choice, but his expression doesn't change through the whole fucking movie.
Yeah,
he's just sort of morose through the whole fucking thing, like somebody pissed in his cornflakes.
They play nonchalant aristocracy very well.
Mm-hmm.
They play that kind of we're above everyone else. We're just gonna lounge around our palatial estate, and actually the implication is there, and Brian Clemens says this on the commentary, is that they are incestuous. So while it is implied by him feeding her a grape in a very kind of lascivious way, they were genuinely meant to be brothers and sisters who are intertwined erotically. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I needed that in my story.
Apparently, that is the skeeviness that you are getting from the two of them is their underlying.
All right. Yeah, you could feel it.
Well, I mean, ultimately, they kind of serve the purpose of being like fake outs. Like, because I'll tell you, this first time I saw this movie, I spent the entire movie thinking that one of the two of them was the vampire.
You're supposed to.
I know you're supposed to, but I mean, they did a good job, because sometimes when they do stuff like this, you're like, oh, this is a trick. I thought the trick was they were making you think it was the brother, and then you were going to find out it was the sister. And then as we get to the end, we'll find out that it was all of that was pulled off from under us.
In fact, there were red herrings even in the town and even in the bar scene and so on. There are any number of people in this movie that they could have written were the vampire. You know what I mean? By the end.
It took me till the end of the movie to figure out. So we'll talk about the bar scene. Took me to the end of the movie to figure out who the guy
was,
who the guy who looked like Robert Zadar and Freddie Mercury put together was, and then you figure out he's the horseman for their family, because we get a character who offers up this trio of villains some money, and we don't know what it's for. But these three guys are, like I said before, Jason Statham and Phil Collins' kid, and then his kind of, mongoloidy friends are the three bullies in town.
Right.
And they bully this one gentleman, just pick on him with their rapiers and their fencing swords. Who's the blind chick who's doing the Pepsi challenge?
Explain it. Is it the mother?
She's just, what's super weird is she was I think a Dutch model or something. And the only explanation, because I was watching it going, why does she have a bandage around her eyes? And the only explanation that you get in the commentary is just that someone lower in stature would not be able to have or afford glasses back then or whatever. So if you had either an eye disease or lost an eye or had damaged eyes, you would wear a blindfold. So she's nobody other than just a random woman in the bar wearing a blindfold. It's just sort of a weird little thing that he put in the movie. But yeah, she was the actress was like a Dutch model or something.
I waited that whole movie to figure out how she was going to tie into it. Right. I'm like, oh, well, she's Lady Liberty or some shit. Like there's something there that I don't get. And no, she's just a background extra with fucking,
Justice
with astigmatism.
Justice is blind, so I suppose she could represent Justice, but no, she's just and the guy with the waxy face and the little mustache, I think what's odd about that is obviously the movie's about aging and it's about youth and it's about all this different stuff. His face looks so shiny and waxy and kind of fake and bulbous that you almost think he himself is a red herring, and at the end of the movie, he's going to pull off his youthful face and be all like old and grotesque underneath. It looks like a mask, and it's.
But then he's just gone.
Then
Yeah.
And I got Robert Zadar vibes from him too. I was like,
Yeah.
total Robert Zadar vibes.
Major Zadar, which
This
is
is
great.
Robert Zadar Sr. So Larry, we have these bullies and they're the tough guys, but they meet up with Captain Kronos. What happens?
Is this the best scene in the whole movie?
It's a good one.
I mean, because they set those guys up well as, fucking douchebags. The girl's like, oh, you promised me more money, and he just fucking throws the coin into the spittoon. Like, what a fucking douchebag.
Did all three of them fuck her? Like
100%.
Yeah, okay.
Whether she wanted it or not. Yeah. There's definitely rape. So yeah, Robert Zadar paid those guys to kill fucking Kronos. Now Lloyd's got me saying Kronos. Whatever. And Kronos goes in there and they immediately start poking fun at Kronos' hump. Yeah, they're fucking with him, and there's some good lines. I wish I remembered them. I don't remember them by heart, but Kronos is definitely not concerned about the three of them. Now, there was a good setup shot actually before that when he was telling it was before a scene beforehand when they were setting up the bullies as kind of badasses, right? And that one guy was sitting there refusing to laugh at his fucking stupid joke. And, they showed him reach for his sword, but fucking Caro got his sword to his throat before the guy even got his, setting Caro up as a badass. Hey, he's a really good swordsman. So they could prove how great of a swordsman Kronos is with the next scene. They're poking and he's like, nope, I got no time for your bullshit. He's like, stop, making fun of my friend. You're not fucking funny. And then they reach for the sword, and before any of the three of them can pull theirs, it's literally like a fucking scene from, I don't know, like Final Destination almost, except nobody actually falls in half. Like he just cuts all three of them and then fucking sheaths his sword before any of them do. And they all just kind of stand there statuesque, and then one falls right after the other.
Oh, Ian Hendry's death, like banging against the table, spinning around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He does like the whole box. He had the red fire. Elizabeth, come and join you. he stumbles around. He grabs the sack of change. The sack of money that he was given to fucking kill him, and then falls on the floor dead.
It was actually intended to be more of a spaghetti western scene. It's actually meant to be like a quick draw scene. So you have the assholes in the saloon. They treat a prostitute badly. The big ginger guy is sat down on the chair, unimpressed with the way that they're treating the local prostitute, and then he gets picked on, and then, of course, he has the square off with Kronos. So it's meant to be like one of those spaghetti western saloon sequences.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully filmed. I mean, fuck, the cinematography in this movie throughout the film is just beautiful.
Really good,
This scene especially, they lean the hell into it. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
If this movie was made in the early 2000s when it was a trope, when Kronos pulls the sword out and swings it and puts it back in again, all of their heads would have slidden halfway off.
That's what I meant when I was like kind of like a Final Destination. Like that's what, if somebody made that today, like they would stand there and then all of a sudden like they're fucking, it would just slide.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a trope from Friday the 13th when the hitchhiker gets killed and she sort of stands there for a bit and then slowly you see the gash open up.
Right.
And neck kind of bleed. It's I think that is sort of where that starts, because then when you see it, the CGI versions in Final Destination and some of those other movies, I think it even happens in The Faculty, and I mean all of those late 90s, early 2000s horror.
Kill Bill,
that kind of thing. There's the one in is it Resident Evil with the lasers?
Yes, yeah.
And the guy gets on
Equilibrium too, the Christian Bale movie. Yeah, we got to talk more about the tools of the trade of the vampire hunters / killers.
Yeah,
dead toads. What the fuck's up with that?
And bells, dead toads and bells.
Yeah.
So this confused the hell out of me. right? The bells, I understand. The bells are essentially set up because the other thing that is not explained in this movie is that sometimes you can see the vampire and they are dressed in a black hood. And then other times they appear to be invisible. Like they're not like, either that or they're very quick, either one. And then one other occasion they're also a bat, but that's when he becomes a bat. But no, so there's something to do with the toads. And as far as I can figure it out, is that this is the saying that it goes based on. If a vampire should bestrode close to the grave of a dead toad, then the vampire life shall give, and suddenly the toad shall live. That's the quote. What I don't understand about that is if the vampire is not giving their life, because otherwise every time a vampire walked over a dead toad, they'd die. The toad would live, but they would die. They're just giving life to the toad, I guess. It's a way to indicate that vampires are about, I suppose.
I think it's a cool tool, and I think it's a cool thing. But there's like 2 or 3 scenes in this movie where the action just stops dead while they're getting dead toads. Yeah, like, oh, we got a dead toad. Okay, now we figured it out. There's a vampire close by. It's actually how they figure out eventually that the Dur words are a vampire.
That was a good scene because he tosses one out under the carriage.
Yeah.
He rolls one under the carriage. Yeah. So it's essentially, it's just a way to it's like putting salt around a pentagram or whatever. It's like, it doesn't guard anyone, but it kind of lets them know that vampires are around. And the bells with the ribbons and stuff that we see, Grost morosely tying up when he's really sad about the fact that he's been called a humpback. So why, master? That whole sequence. He's tying the bells because, of course, Kronos does nothing like for 2/3 of the movie except sit around,
smoke some weed,
and bang Caroline Munro.
Shirtless.
Which is not a bad
2/3 of the movie shirtless.
Yeah,
not a bad way to spend a couple of days, frankly.
No, and when someone says to him, "Hey, buddy, you're the vampire hunter. Are you actually going to do anything about all these dead chicks lining up?" He goes, "Give me a minute. It takes a while."
Can we unpack that? All these dead chicks from one fucking family.
Right.
Yeah.
It's literally one family. And I don't know why. You know that, right? These are all part of the first woman who was killed.
They're all related to Tiny Tim?
They're all fucking sisters.
Well, the first victim isn't the sister. The first victim is friends with Tiny Tim's sister. And then
but the rest are the fucking sisters.
Yeah, it kills the older sister. I don't know if
Who's the one in the church? Remember the one in the church with the
That's another sister.
shadow? That's a sister.
Yeah, that was the sister or the mother.
It's
and
the
then
redhead.
It's part of the fucking family. This family must be really youthful because fucking old lady mask face just keeps fucking killing all of them.
Well, think about it.
Or dad. I don't know which one's doing the fucking killing, frankly. I don't know.
No, the mother.
Reanimator dad. I don't know.
It's the mother. So
is it? Okay.
So we'll just get to the secret at the end. We'll jump to it now. Is that the old lady, the old lady mother with the decrepit face
Her
is
face
actually
looked like one of the fucking masks from Tourist Trap.
Yeah,
that's all I could think of when I fucking saw it. I expected her to fucking start rocking back and forth and laughing. I was like, holy shit.
We actually find out that she is youthful. That's actually a mask. It's not her face. She is from a line of vampires, she says, correct? Like that side of the family?
They're known for mysticism or some shit.
Yeah.
No, so it's the Karnstein. So there was a trilogy that they were making at the time. So all the lesbian vampire films that Hammer made.
Which we will be doing.
Yes, we're doing all three of those, yeah.
They are all a story about one family, the Karnsteins or the Karnsteins.
Berenstein Bears.
Yeah, and what they wanted to do was tie it into this family because the son talks a lot about how the Durwoods live forever and they have a good lineage and blah 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 blah, mainly because they're vampires. And he says, but not mother, because she says, what about mother? And he said, well, not mother, because she's only related by marriage. And she reveals at the end, but she is really related to the Karnsteins that are another vampire.
Now, see, I looked that up, and it's not the same name. She doesn't say Karnstein. There's something close to it, but it's not.
No, it's meant to be the same. I mean,
see, I read that it's not.
According to the script. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay.
I don't know. We're gonna have to do some further research, clear that up. When she said it, I was like, "Holy shit! Did she just say fucking Karnstein?" I was like, "Is this connected to the vampire lovers and all that?" And
it's meant to be, but I don't know.
See, when I looked it up, it said it said it wasn't. But
yeah, Karstein. That's what she says. Yeah, I wrote it down when she said it, and so I don't know if I spelled it right, but I spelled it out Karnstein.
And, and Brian Clemens does well. I don't know if it's Brian Clemens who says it or whether it's the historian that's hosting the commentary track.
Yeah.
But either way, one of them says on the commentary, it was not meant to be an additional movie of the franchise, the Karnstein, whatever. But it was meant to just be a nod that it all takes place in the same world. Because if they wanted to do like Kronos versus the Karnsteins in the next one.
Maybe I read that it wasn't connected, like it wasn't meant to be but they're the same universe. That makes sense. Okay.
It's like in the MCU when, like in a Spider-Man movie, they mention, Galactus, and then they wink at the camera, and you're supposed to go, oh, this is all the same shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we learn that she is related to this, has this mystical thing going on. She has revived her husband, who is now not only a zombie, but he's got AIDS or whatever he died of. Like his face. He's got plague face. So we'll get back to that in a second. I do want to talk about the scene where we find out, like, kind of just go through the whole bit. Marcus, the doctor.
Oh, that was sad.
Ends up getting vampired.
Yeah.
He starts to grow really old. He turns into a giant fucking bat that kills a young lady picking flowers in the woods. Then it is revealed to Kronos that Kronos has to take care of this.
How is it revealed to Kronos that Marcus is a vampire?
Well, Marcus is shaving.
Marcus runs in fucking screaming, I'm a vampire, basically. Yeah. And then it's another one of my favorite parts of the movie, just because it's asinine. Kronos is looking at him, and then like he sees his fangs, and he just punches him right in the face.
Yeah,
knocks him out cold.
Like, Jesus Christ, man! Give the dude a break. He just fucking told you he's a vampire.
Well,
punch him in the face.
It gets worse because even though these are old school chums, even though these guys are war buddies, now they just start vampire hostiling him. They're just, it's torture porn on the vampire. Manster, what do they do to this guy? What do they try to kill him, and how do they finally kill him?
They tie him up, and by now his hair has turned completely gray.
Yeah.
They tie him up in a chair. He's already revealed it, so they know. He's begging them now to kill him. So they're like, all right, we'll try this. So first, Humpback gets a nice spear, a stake, nice sharpened, puts it right out there, and gives Kronos the hammer, and he has no reservation at all. Just wails on that spear, but doesn't do it. It goes in, but it comes out with no blood, and the scar just closes right up. So then I love this. They put a rope over a rafter. They put the noose on his head. He's sitting in the chair.
The noose drops down in front of his face. It's a great shot because even though he's a vampire, you kind of see his face. He's almost like, whoop.
He leans into the noose, and then they lift him up. And you don't typically hang someone just by pulling them up, but that's what they do. But it's obviously having no effect on him. He comes back down. I think the next thing is Gross goes to the fire, takes out a burning stick, and tries to burn him. And this is when they find out the flame won't touch him for some reason, but he has a cross. Dr. Marcus has a cross on his chest, a steel cross. And apparently that digs into him and just almost.
Well, he goes to grab it. He's like shocked by the fire.
Yeah.
He goes to grab it, and it like embeds in his chest and kills him.
So you have four different things they tried. Well, they didn't try the cross, but it worked.
Have any of you ever gone for blood work and had a nurse not be able to find a vein? And
dude, every time.
That's basically what the fucking scene reminded me of. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how fucking painful. This poor fucking guy. Like,
well, because we find out earlier in the movie that Kronos has had to kill his wife and daughter, or wife and sister.
His mother and sister.
Mother and
Because
sister. Okay.
when he shipped off to the war, he came back and they were vampires, and
Right.
his sister bit him, and that's when we find out he's a bit of a daywalker.
You know, he's a little bit tragic. There's also this sweet side to him that we've discussed a little bit, that certainly his friends, Marcus and Grost, you know, he cares greatly for them in a very kind of bro kind of way, kind of a bromance kind of way with these guys. And then, you know, he has this tragic situation where he has to kill his friend. And earlier, Grost has said, you know, not only are there different types of vampires, but they've been killed in different ways. They can be staked, they can be hung, they can be set fire to. And I think he says water at one point as well, which is what happens to Dracula at the end of Prince of Darkness. So it always makes me think that it kind of ties into that. And then, yeah, you get this incredible scene that's sort of both incredibly tragic, if you think about it, but also played sort of weirdly for laughs. It's kind of this odd, very odd, dark humor, because on one hand, you're meant to feel like Kronos' history of having to kill the people he loves who have been taken by vampires. But on the other hand, like you say, it's like, well, you know, the stake didn't work. So, well, sorry, dude. Sorry, Marcus, we're going to try hang you. Don't worry, old man. Just keep going. Whatever you need to do, you know. And James, I'm not James Mason. And, you know, they hang him. But what's cool is, and again, these little things are throughout the movie, and it makes me so sad that we didn't get 5 of these movies, or that someone hasn't nowadays thought, well, let's fucking resurrect this character and make a whole series of them. Because you get these like ornate stakes that Brian Clemens describes and explains that he designed specifically because he wanted to have a sequence in a future movie that when you stab the vampire, the blood runs down that the engraving on the side of the stake. It was meant to, like, yeah, there was a whole thing. There was all these things that he was kind of setting up that I feel sad that we never really got to fully explore. But and I love the idea that vampires don't bleed until they're close to death, or until they're going to die or whatever, which is another cool little bit of lore that they.
It's a good one.
All right, so eventually, our heroes who have now figured out that the cross is the weapon that they need to defeat the vampire, and have turned it into the ultimate sword.
That's a great scene. It's fucking rad. Like,
well, the making of the sword's great, and then the first usage of the sword against all of the
villagers,
the villagers in the cemetery, where he's just like chopping the swords out of their hands, and they're going and flying and landing. I like that quite a bit. So they eventually decide to do a bit of a ruse and use Carla to get herself
nicely. They're like, "Hey, are you sure you want to do this?" Like, they don't just fucking say, "Hey, fruit girl, you know, you have to go fucking." She's like, "No, I want to be involved. I want to help out," which was good.
Yeah.
They wouldn't share the fucking blanket, but they were nice enough not to force her to be the fucking, you know, one who goes and risks her life.
I like the fact that the Durwards are also skeptical and suspicious of her, because she pretends that she was like, you know...
It's a strange story.
It's a strange story, and earlier in the movie, there's a bit where someone mentions, the sister mentions, I think, or the mother mentions, why did the Dr. Marcus come to see us? There's nothing around. There's not a Walmart down the road.
It was the mother in her not moving mouth.
Yeah. So
she was like, the road leads nowhere.
Right. So when she shows up, you can tell they're already suspicious, because they're like, you know what? Second person knocked on her door in like the last 3 days. What the
fuck is Caroline Monroe doing here?
Yeah, what is she doing here with her big British titties? But so
her big fucking Charlies.
Her big old Gazanga Charlies. But she gets in, tells them a story, and they kind of leave her there.
Yeah.
Manster, we get the captain, Kronos, whatever we're going to call him. He drops in, and this is where we get, I guess I didn't see it, but I read later that when they visited their father's gravestone, on the gravestone, there was something that said he was like one of the world's greatest sword fighters. Did any of you notice that?
Yeah, I did. It's the only thing that sort of spoils the ending.
Okay.
Because what's funny is that all the way through, they were like, well, we don't want to do Cushing and Lee again, because everyone knows that Cushing will essentially triumph over Lee, because that's the story of the movie. So let's do something completely different, only to set Kronos up as a master swordsperson, right? And then have on the gravestone of someone who's related to this whole thing that he's the greatest swordsman. And in your head, you go, I wonder if at some point he's going to come back to life and fight Captain Kronos. You know what I mean? It sort of gives away the ending unless you don't fully take it in, you know?
Right. We get this great moment at the end where Kronos kind of comes down and confronts the brother and sister. And then all of a sudden, the mother shows up. But alas, as we mentioned, she's not some old crone. She is very youthful and beautiful, and she explains everything we talked about before, her powers and her relationship, and that she's brought her husband back. And she also shows that she has the power of like a mesmerism because she uses her stare to freeze the children in their place. But then we get the Harry Hamlin Medusa moment, which I was like, this is Clash of the Titans did it fucking for me first, but obviously not first, where Kronos, being just the brilliant tactician, he sees that she's trying to pull that shit on him. Manster, what does he do?
Well, he takes the sword and he lifts it up, and so that she sees her reflection in the sword and mesmerizes her own damn self.
Yeah.
Well, he slides. So when after Gross has finished making the sword, Kronos slides a mirror. It's meant to be a more highly mirrored surface because the sword is kind of black steel, and he slides a mirror down onto it because earlier in the movie, and it's only said once, I think, someone says, and I forget who it is, it might even be Dr. Marcus, but he says something along the lines of, I think mesmerism is at foot here. So it is mentioned earlier in the movie, but then it's forgotten about until, and you do see that one of the first people who is killed, you see her looking scared, and then when she turns around and looks at the cloak, she starts to smile and kind of be drawn into it. So the mesmerism thing is sort of dripped throughout, but it's really comes into play in the last scene.
She's mesmerized, kids are mesmerized, but all of a sudden, Captain fucking Plague Face pops out, and we see that the husband has been brought back from the dead, master swordsman. There's only one thing that can happen here. John, being a fan of this type of film, or even a fan of maybe some action adventures, maybe older things, what do you think about this sword fight? Are you a fan?
Oh, yes, I'm a big fan. I'm a big, like we were saying that earlier when we were chatting amongst ourselves, that this is a movie with multiple genres, and the fun thing about this film is they're slamming, spaghetti westerns and vampires, and it's sort of what, Tarantino would do with like Dusk Till Dawn or whatever. It's slamming together all these different genres. And so, we've had a little sword play with Kronos before, but it's got to build up to the big swashbuckling finale where people are knocking candles over and jumping on top of tables and things like that. And all of Hammer's vampire movies have a little bit of that. I mean, if you look at the first Horror of Dracula, Cushing is running along the table and ripping down the curtain and all that kind of stuff. So there's a little bit, but this goes, hell for leather. We get a big, Errol Flynn style swashbuckling. And what's funny is we were talking before the show that you had read the review that my friend had done in his book that we mentioned every time the bloke down the pub talks about Hammer horror films. And he says that the guy playing Kronos, Horst Janssen, was not a great swordsperson. He said,
I read that. Yeah.
That's the problem. The funny thing is Horst Janssen was in real life a fencer and actually was a good swordsperson. So if it looks a bit scrappy, it's not Horst's fault. But I love it, and I'm all for genre bending. Let's put action, let's put horror, let's put westerns, let's put incest all in one movie and bubble it all up, because incest is its own genre.
It's its own genre.
That's one of my favorite genres.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So Larry, how does Captain Kronos finish this off?
First of all, I was referring to Lord Dunworth or whatever the fuck his name is as fake Tim Curry, because looked a lot like Tim Curry to me in some. And then I was marveling at how well he sword fights for a dude who died of the plague 7 years prior. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, when did she bring him back? Where she's been hiding him?
I don't know, but apparently he's been walking around in the fucking woods with a cloak on very fast for some time.
He is a great sword fighter, because there's a point during their fight, and it's a good 15 seconds of fight where Captain Kronos knocks him into a chair, and he fights from the chair.
Right. But then he unswords. Is that a word?
Yes.
D-swords?
D-swords, maybe? Sure. Kronos and Kronos still manages to. I think he took a sword from the wall and
Fire poker.
Yeah, and with that he fucking stabs fake Tim Curry, but it does nothing, right? Because it's not the fucking iron sword made of the Iron Cross. I was gonna say I don't think you're allowed to say Iron Cross. Made
steel is the
steel. Okay.
Yeah.
Why, there's a difference? What do I know? I'm not a fucking metallurgist. That's not a word either.
Metallurgist.
I'm not an alchemist. What are you fucking people talking about? So yeah, then fake Tim Curry's like, aha, you can't kill me with the bullshit sword. So he gets a hold. Oh, fucking, meanwhile, Humpy has crawled through the window, tosses the steel sword to him. At that point, he fucking jams him into the fucking stomach. Got him. And then Lady Mask Face without her mask starts bleeding from her eye, I believe, at that point. And then she says some shit, but then promptly gets stabbed by Kronos too.
She's the original Cumber bitch, then, if she's
Yes.
Benedict's mother. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they immediately turn into skeletons, basically.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I thought what was cool was when they killed the mother, because obviously the mother put the hex on the children and said, forget all about this. Because I think what's really cool about the reveal is that the children had no idea.
Right.
The children were just lounging around the castle, fucking each other, whatever they were doing.
Fucking nepotism babies.
Nepotism babies just eating berries and discussing existentialism.
Fucking touching each other's junk.
Yeah, had no idea that Mother and reanimated Papa were going around killing beauties in the forest.
Right.
So
little Joffreys.
When she gets killed, when the mother gets killed, what's great is the kids then wake back up and see that their parents have been killed and are like absolutely horrified.
And they're like, what's all this then?
I just thought that was really fucking cool. I thought that was great. Like how fucking harrowing for them. You know what I mean? And it could set them up as future antagonists.
However, Paul still had the same fucking look on his face.
He did.
Yeah, he was like, whatever.
He was just like, want to go diddle each other in the cupboard.
Yeah. Let's go eat cherries and touch each other's bathroom places.
Let me see your Charlies.
He was getting ready to lay down the track "I'm in love with my car" from A Night at the Opera, because Roger Taylor and all. Manster, at the end of this film, we get the James Bond will return in For Your Eyes Only moment where our heroes basically say they're going to ride on and, more adventures await. But Manster, would you not have brought Carlo along with you?
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Neither seemed very interested in pursue. I mean, they were both like, hey, when I'm jacking off, I'll think of you. And she's like, oh.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
He's like, when I'm flicking the bean, I'll think of you too. Then all of a sudden, fucking, he looks at Gross and he says, Rhodes? Where we're going, we don't need. That's the wrong movie altogether, right? But similar.
He should have said humps. Where we're going, we don't need humps. And taken his blade and sliced
the hump off.
He was a real friend. He would do that.
Wait a second. We missed one of the most. I was like, what do you mean? So after fucking killing the Dunfops, whoever they were, he just discards the fucking sword. Did you notice that? He just tosses it on the fucking floor. Done with this.
Don't need this anymore.
Yes. The sword that Humperdinck fucking, crafted lovingly.
Yeah.
He just tossed it on the floor. Don't need this anymore.
Well, he's still got his samurai sword.
He does still have his samurai sword, which I question samurais in 1600s England, but whatever.
Well, and not to mention, if you're a vampire hunter and you found the ultimate weapon against fighting vampires, you might want to pack it.
You might want to keep that. Hold on to that for a little bit. There might be another one allergic to steel down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
But then he'll just have Gross to make another one.
Yeah.
He has to, Gross.
Steel is plentiful.
Gross likes to feel useful. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I don't want to be thought of as just a humpback vampire.
I think the reason they don't take
something to do, he's just going to dwell on his own ugliness.
Yeah, right. I think the reason that Carla doesn't come with them is because Gross is like, Master, she didn't say that I was attractive. Even she could tell that's what I wanted to hear, and she still didn't say it. Fuck her. and
I begged her for us to be able to form a wobbly H. She wouldn't go with it. So because she wouldn't service the hump, Master. I wanted her to service the hump.
Yeah, they leave Carla behind and the movie ends, and that is it.
Sloppy seconds, Master.
We do not get the further adventures of Captain K.
So disappointing. There's so many places they could have gone. They could have even brought him into the Seven Golden Vampires. I mean, he has a samurai sword. At some point, he must have been out east at some point. So
Right.
Yeah, I did read somewhere too that in one of the reviews or something that I read in doing the research for this episode is that like someone had kind of referred to it as like one of the last of the golden age of Hammer, almost like this is like the start of a hard decline. Yeah. All right. So that is 1974's Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. We don't talk box office on Scary Larry episodes, but of course we do talk our favorite kill. It's favorite kill time, kids.
Officer Hawkins, tell me, what happened in here? Tell me what happened. Did Michael kill? Did Michael kill again?
All right, Manster, we're going to start with you. What's your favorite kill in this film?
Yeesh. I guess it's got to be the triple kill in the bar.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go in the
bar.
Go right with you.
Is anybody going to choose anything different?
Well, it sounds like Larry's going with that, but John looks like he might be thinking. John, what do you got?
Bat to the face is always fun.
Right. So that was my next choice. My next choice was Bat to the face, but it loses a point because if there's any Kids in the Hall fans out there, I always think of the scene with Kevin McDonald in Brain Candy, where he's like, "Cat on my head, cat on my head."
Oh,
and
yeah,
I wanted her to be like, "Bat on my face." But no, the bat on my face is good. I also I kind of call it like the Monty Python death because the couple that are making out in the woods, there's then this long shot where the woman goes down under a hill, then comes back up off a hill, then goes down under a hill, and then you hear her go, "Oh," and then she's like moaning like she's having an orgasm, and then she comes up the hill again and dies. And it always just makes me think like there's a lot of Monty Python jokes, whether it's the It's guy crawling out of the ocean and it being a long shot and taking a long time, or whether it's the bit in Holy Grail with the guy running up to the castle, back. And there's always these like long shots, or whether it's the how to hide in open spaces or whatever that sketch is where they keep blowing up the bushes. And I just thought the very long shot and her going down under the hill, and then you heard like or whatever. I just thought it's like a funny Monty Python kill. Also, there's no way that he kissed her, stole her breath and everything, and in that short period of time, there's no way.
Yeah, that was before No meant no, too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she is hardcore, like not going for it, and he's got her up against that tree, and he's like, "Yo, up against a tree, bitch! I'm taking it." I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Well, I think that was another thing where it was a little bit of a red herring, just because of the way he was passionately kissing her. It's almost like, is he about to kill her? Do you know what I mean? Is he about to become the vampire? I think that was a little what was going on. But yeah, it was weirdly, she was like hitting his shoulders and stuff. And then eventually she's just like, okay, now I'm enjoying it. It was very, that was the one bit where I was like, oh, that's not aged well.
Yeah. This is definitely this is definitely 1972 here, kids.
But yeah, bat on my face, because the rest of you are going for the saloon kill. I'll go for bat on my face.
Yeah.
All right, fair. Let's rate this thing.
That guy who spent 6 weeks in the bathroom got a 91.
All right, Scary Larry episode. Larry, what is the scale rating based on? What are we doing here today?
Monroe's Charlie's.
Monroe's Charlie's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those big old Monroe's Charlie's. 0 to 5. 0 being the worst thing ever, 5 being the best thing ever.
Monroe has 5 Charlies?
She could.
She could.
Yeah, she could.
If you really enjoy this film, she has.
That's right.
5
That's
Charlies.
right.
Yeah.
Quarter and a half scale optional. Let's start with the Manster. What do you give Captain Kronos?
I was wondering about this. The first time I watched it was the day after. Let's just put it this way. I was not feeling good that day, and I tried to watch it in bed. I couldn't stay awake for more than 2 minutes at a time. So it's very difficult to get into the film. But I rewatched it again today because we're recording so late. So I enjoyed it much more the second time when I actually understood what was going on. It's kind of a unique gem. It's it's a departure, I think, from what I've seen anyway, of the Hammer heroes. It's not like the serious protagonist like Christopher Lee, and the Devil Rides Out and all that stuff. He's a little more dynamic, even though, like you said, he doesn't do a lot of this stuff, but he's a fun hero, I think. And it does blend genres. You got like your gothic horror, some adventure, some mystery, feels kind of like an action film. So I like that too. And I do like the concept of the different vampires and the different ways that they kill or can be killed. The sword fighting is fun. I feel like it's a little slow. Like it's an hour and a half, almost exactly movie. But I feel like the investigation and the stuff in the middle got a little slow and boring to me. Dead frogs everywhere and bells. And I mean, there had to be, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 of the killings. Like enough already was showing us the drained victims. Like I've seen enough to understand it. You don't have to keep showing me more and more. But overall, I think it kind of breaks the mold of a traditional Hammer film, as far as I know. It's fun. I'm going to give it, I think I've given them all 4s. I'm going to stick with a 4. I'll go with 4.
John Cross from so many shows, PM Entertainment and After Movie Diner. We'll let you talk about all that stuff at the very end, as we always do. What do you give 1974's Captain Kronos?
Well, as I said, I think Larry has picked 3 for 3 so far. I think they've been absolutely fantastic movies that we've covered so far on this Hammer series. And this is no exception. This might even be my favorite of the 3, although it's close to The Devil Rides Out. It's a fantastic film. I love it because of the cinematography. I love it because of the acting. I love it because of the mythos that it's creating. As we say, we love the kills. I love the spaghetti western elements. I love the weird shit. Like, why is there a blindfold chick in the bar? Like, I like that. Why is he wearing a napkin over his face and falling asleep while Grost is, smelting a sword in the background? I love all that stuff. I think it's genuinely probably the most underappreciated British movie that I can think of, in terms of, for all of Hammer's resurgence and reinterest in that studio, and even with the Hammer making new movies and stuff. Not enough people talking about this. So again, thanks you guys for letting us talk about this, because I really think the cinematography is what steps it aside. It looks better than I think almost any other Hammer film. There are faults with it. You know what I mean? He could definitely do more actual vampire hunting rather than, like you say, Manster, kind of just seeing the repeated deaths and him hanging around in barns smoking pot and whatever. But in general, I like what they're building, and I am genuinely sad that we didn't get more of them. And if someone said tomorrow, oh, the Kronos IP is up for grabs and, I don't know, studio, whatever, is going to take them on and make a whole bunch of new Kronos movies, as long as I trusted the director or writer, whoever was bringing them to the screen, I would be very happy, because I would watch another 10 of these. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 Charlies. I thought about giving it 5 out of 5 Charlies, but I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 Charlies. I don't know that it's 5 out of 5, but it's very close. And it's now, I'm a bit like Larry. I hadn't watched it in a long, long time, and putting it back in and reliving it, it certainly entered my top 6 favorite Hammer films.
Okay. All right. We'll leave Larry for last, as we always do. I'll go next. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I like this movie. This movie has grown on me. This would have been a 3 or 3.25 the night I watched it. The more I think about it, the more we talk about it, I realize things that I really like about this movie. I love the mythology that they do here that is kind of different than things you've seen in vampire movies, and then also things you've seen but in different ways. Finding out that the cross is, used against them is deadly to vampires, which Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, doesn't know is very cool. The magic of the toad, all of Grost's kind of, contributions are very cool. He's definitely, he's kind of like the Q to Bond in this to Kronos. Kronos, we kind of talked about it, maybe kind of a weak link in the movie in terms of what we see here. He spends a lot of time like post nut. He spends a lot of time. There's a lot of like post nut clarity for Kronos. Like there's a lot of scenes where it's like them laying in a barn somewhere and he's just covered in his own jizz. We don't get a ton of vampire hunting from him, but when we do get moments, they're pretty badass. His sword fight was very good. And John, I did totally agree with you where your buddy had kind of said in his entry that, Horst Jansen, I thought he was good. I thought that I didn't look at that scene and go, that wasn't good swordsmanship. The bit where he kills the 3 guys in the saloon is very cool. The weakest part of this movie, I think, overall, is the actual vampire scenes. 'Cause it's just someone in a cloak and then aged victim. We don't see anything really besides that. The concept is cool of an age-stealing vampire. The answer to everything is very cool. Like you think it's the kids, you think it's one kid, and then you think it's the other, or maybe it's both. You find out it's the mother. All that's very cool, but the actual attack scenes and stuff are very tame. There's not a lot happening when those happen, but still, I think for an hour and a half long movie, it's very entertaining. All the different elements in there, like we mentioned before, horror, spaghetti western, there's some black comedy. The whole scene where they're torturing, they're trying to kill Marcus is, like John said, it's kind of heartfelt, but it's also kind of like the scene where the noose falls in front of his face and he's just like, uh-oh. Like, I thought that was pretty good. So I'm going to go with a 3.5. I actually ended up enjoying this, and I feel the same way that this is a missed opportunity for Hammer. I guess, things were winding down for them a bit at that point. Maybe if Captain Kronos had come out 10 years earlier.
They botched the release. So that's, another reason why it didn't come out for like 2 years. And when it did come out, it didn't really come out. It was one of those that the few critics who saw it gave it great reviews, but it just wasn't out long enough and it just wasn't in the theaters enough. And it was often put on a double bill with movies no one wanted to see.
Right.
So sorry, just to fill that in.
No, that's what you're here for. Your Britishness and your expertise. Scary Larry, what do you got?
Yeah, guys, not a lot more than what you had. I definitely, it's interesting. I definitely found myself wanting more of the vampire lore. And I think, like John had said earlier in the episode, I think we would have gotten more. I think their plan was to give us more. I think they meant to hold it back. Right, because that was their plan, to make a whole bunch of these, and so they were just giving you a little taste, a little bit of tease of this additional vampire lore. Because some of the stuff they came up with was really, really fucking cool. Like when they're like, "Hey, well, what about crucifixes?" And they're like, "Well, when you're mesmerized, it kind of dampens your belief in God, so the crucifixes don't work." I'm like, how fucking cool is that? Mm-hmm. Like, what an amazing little idea that you have right there. Like, that's fucking fantastic. And like John had said earlier, also, like that whole idea, like that there's so many different types of vampires, that we haven't even touched upon yet. And this just being one of many type. But like you, John, said, I could have gone for some more of the actual attack. Now, I know you don't want, you want to shield the face because you don't want to give away the, what the secret of who it is, because that's a big part of this movie. You're convinced that it's either Sarah or Stoneface Paul. But it turns out to be the mom. But they could have easily shot from the back, could have easily showed them pulling somebody in and doing something. Give me, I could have used a little more something, a little more of the actual attack, at least seeing the body fall and then the blood and them zip away or something that, but I still love this movie. I'd forgotten really how much I enjoyed this movie. It is, and I know we've all said it, it's criminal that this was the end, that there were no more Kronos, and just like John from across the pond, if somebody had decided to reboot this and make a series, I'd be on board. If I hit the Powerball tomorrow, I'd buy the IP myself.
They could have done it like Django, in the sense that like anyone could make their own version. Do you know what I mean? Like it's an open enough mythology, and they put enough stuff down that it wouldn't have to be one studio making, you know, 20 movies or whatever. It could be like the Django franchise, which is just, you know, any Italian or Spaniard who wanted to make a spaghetti Western could do one with Django in the title, and away we go kind of thing. I'd be up for 20 different directors tackling their own versions. I think there's something there, and I think it's very sad that really the vampire mythology we've had since Kronos has always kind of gone back to the tried and true rather than trying to expand it.
And that's funny, like, John, you've heard me say it a million times. My favorite vampire movies are the ones that aren't the traditional, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I love Fright Night, and I love, The Lost Boys is a lot of fun, but my favorites are ones like Martin and The Transfiguration, and ones that are just a little bit different.
Transfiguration was awesome. I watched that years ago on your recommendation, and that was because it's so real. It's so that was such a good movie.
Yeah, like those are my favorite type of vampire movies, and this was one. You know, I like when they kind of veer from the obvious, and this movie had that in spades. I'm gonna go 4.5 Caroline Munro Charlies.
All right, Manster, tell everybody out there where they could find us.
On any of your podcatchers, you can find us on YouTube, The Pint, a pop culture podcast. On Instagram, it's at The Pint Pop. And you can be an insider at www.patreon.com/The Pint. 2 levels there, $2.50 and $4, and gets you all kinds of good stuff.
John, tell them all about all your endeavors.
The easiest thing is just look me up anywhere the words After Movie and Diner are squished together. You'll find me on Instagram, you'll find me on Facebook, and you'll find me over at aftermoviediner.com. The reason why it's easiest is my other show that I'm currently working on, the PM Entertainment Podcast, lives on aftermoviediner.com. So you can find everything at that URL. And if you like Hammer films, then PM Entertainment are the American action 90s version of Hammer.
All right.
They're not really, but you know, it's a fair analogy.
All right. Well, John, thank you as always. We have 2 more episodes coming in this season. Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires, and then we're going to do, as we mentioned, the Karnstein trilogy all in one episode, but we're going to figure all that out. And I'm putting Larry on notice right now. Start figuring out what season 5 is going to be. Let's do 5 episodes. You figure out whatever you want to do. You pick the movies, you pick the genre, in terms of like, you know, do you want to do a slasher season, whatever. It's your show, Larry. So let's start thinking of that, because I want to get the next 2 episodes of this done by, say, February of 26, so we can move into the next one.
Yeah.
So until next time, see ya.
See ya.
We are leaving!